Hello. I can't believe this is working. This doesn't always work. So for everyone that is here tonight, hello. Welcome to Desert Spotlight, the live stream. I don't have names for this stuff yet, but my name is Michael Kaufman. I've been doing Desert Spotlight with my friends for about a little less than a year, but for a decent amount of time. And we're doing this now, and we got some guest artists that we're going to feature every week. And this week I am fortunate enough to talk to a guy. I've been talking to him for like an hour now, but Bryce Goodwin, aka Emotional. There he is. What's up, man? Yeah, he's into it.
Hey.
There he is. What's up?
There we go.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
I'm pretty good, pretty good. You know, I was saying that I just got off work, so.
So Bryce, I don't know. Can you switch cameras? Can we see what you're doing there? It looks like you're stirring for soup or something, but I don't think that's what's going on over there. He's got this. He showed me it earlier. You got a head start. You kind of cheat. There it is. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Look at this. So what
you
got?
Bit, yeah.
Yeah. What time did you start this?
I actually started this as soon as I clocked out. The background is actually spray paint.
Oh, okay.
A lot of paint.
Nice. So what is?
Sadly, you can't do that too much on camera.
No, I get that. Yeah, it's just like aerosols of paint going everywhere.
We're trying not to die.
Right. Yeah. But so how did you get started on this? Like where did you what did you do?
So recently I've definitely been more focused on sort of blue figures in my recent work. Backgrounds, it really sort of varies depending on how I'm feeling in that day.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely been feeling really sort of chaotic and stressed from like my actual job and stuff like that. So I usually relate that a lot to sort of like the background that I work with. Just a lot of my backgrounds have been like orange or red recently, so kind of connects to that.
What do you do as a job?
So I build websites for a living for like an actual company. So it's not like freelance, like finding my own customers and everything. But I build like I'd say maybe like 3 to 4 websites a week or so for a bunch of different businesses. So you're like calling people, sort of finding out what they want. It's really sort of finding out what content they want on the website and stuff like that.
Right.
But it can be definitely really time consuming.
So I don't imagine you want to do that forever, right? Like you're not, that's not your career,
Yeah,
right?
the goal is definitely working towards doing art full time, 100%.
Yeah, so you're starting to integrate to that right now. So how have you been doing that?
Actually, so recently, I mean, I've always sold my art online. That's definitely always a hustle. Recently, I did find out about what they call crypto art. And so it really gives artists a way to sort of sell their art without having to deal with like a middleman of like a gallery or a museum or something like that. That sort of like takes a full cut and connects you to the people that actually want to buy art. It gives you that platform to sort of sell that art too.
So how did you get started in crypto art? I didn't even know this was a thing. I just think of like cryptocurrency or whatever. So like, how did you even find this?
So of course I am on Twitter a lot. And so there's an artist called Ferocious. They sort of do a lot of digital art. And so I did see them sort of getting into what they call crypto art, sort of creating a NFT for the digital piece they created. And that is like a big discussion for people too, is like, how do digital artists sell their work just like a physical artist would? And I think that definitely opens the gates for digital artists a lot more too. But yeah, I found out on Twitter. I did a bit more research, and I played with crypto in like 2012. So it wasn't too hard for me to like get started with it, but it's definitely a little bit of a a knowledge sort of issue when it comes to getting into it, since crypto is a bit sort of scary and everything like that to some people.
Yeah, I think it's still an unknown. It's an early stage of it's kind of, you're saying earlier it's like the dot-com boom. It's kind of like the early
Hmm.
days of crypto, so it's the wild west and it's unpredictable and it's kind of scary to people. So it's cool that you're finding a way to make it something that everyone can relate to, and it's an alternative way of doing business, especially right now when you can't really be
Yeah,
out
when
and
we're all sort
about,
of stuck at home.
so I don't
I
know.
mean,
So
it's definitely not like um, artists sort of like only sell crypto art. I think it's more of like a great way for artists to have another avenue
mhm.
of like an income source, and sort of getting rid of more of that idea of like the starving artist as well.
Yeah, there doesn't need to be one, right? Like you
Yeah, exactly.
you got to figure it out. So you have where do you find yourself, putting this work, and like how do people find this? Like how do I find, do I have to know what I'm looking for, or how is this accessible?
So typically, yeah, now it's like there are platforms. Of course, not everybody's going to know about those platforms, and with so many platforms being out there, it's kind of hard to sometimes keep track of all of them too. But I mean, there's places like Rarible, OpenSea, Maker's Place, Super Rare, and Known Origin, and these are just what you would call marketplaces, basically. Some are open for all artists to use, and some are more like exclusive where you have to sign up and stuff like that. It's a lot more work and all that.
Hmm. So,
Um,
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, but it's basically a way for those artists to sell their work.
Mhm.
And I think it really more comes down to not really depending on those platforms though, is more so building your own sort of platform, like your social medias and things like that, and getting yourself out like that. Yeah. So the easiest way I can explain is just think of the real traditional art world. You have your big, huge auction houses and things like that. But those are only exclusive to those super big artists that are selling for millions and stuff like that. And so nowadays, I think you're seeing a lot more platforms pop up, even like just on like Clubhouse, for example, not involving crypto,
Mhm.
as people are doing like live auctions for people to sell art. And then so like crypto takes like a big example of that is doing auctions for the art.
Mhm.
And so the artist sort of controls that auction, the auction, instead of like someone else controlling it. So you accept that bid when you're happy with that bid, or you want to maybe get more from that piece. You of course can wait from accepting that as well. Yeah, there we go. So if you enter that building, that would be my little gallery that I made. So yeah, right here is actually a little series I did called the Feeling Series. So for 5 days, I painted I think 10 pieces, just 2 pieces a day, basically, and just sort of how I felt and based it off of color. And this is a great example is I combined this in an NFT and physical canvas bundle. So if someone bought that NFT, they would get shipped that physical piece as well. So all 10 of them got shipped like around the world and things like that, which is pretty cool. And you can see that I got my cool little couch here and things like that. Um, there's a lot of different like metaverse worlds like this that really give artists a way to sort of be creative and create things what they want to create. This one's a bit more definitely sort of basic, like block sort of. Minecraft is definitely a great way to sort of compare it to. But it basically, yeah, there's ones that are more like realistic and stuff like that. But you own this piece of land and you can build whatever you want on it. So it really gives people that creative output, I think. The virtual land, of course, does cost cryptocurrency. So you can buy it for like ETH, which is what a lot of people sell their art for and stuff like that. Um, and it's just sort of it really varies in prices. Um, some people do it as an investment because that land could go up in price. And some people just focus on having land to sort of build what they want on it and stuff like that. The cool thing about this is a great way to show is that there's so many different artists sort of in that crypto space. And they can all sort of show their work in a virtual way like that. So that it shows them how to sort of just get themselves out there in a way.
Okay. So I want to go back to some of your pieces, talk a little bit about that, because I saw, you got writing on there. You have all these different, sounds emitting from each of these pieces. I want to look. I mean, look, these are moving though. This is crazy. How did you do this?
Yeah, so some of them. So that one I actually created with my friend Alejo.
Mm-hmm.
So he sort of cut out the character and sort of edited in After Effects. He actually sort of taught me how to do that on my own and stuff like that too, which I've done with a few pieces recently. But you can kind of see like my old animation style downstairs is like more just still and like moving lines and stuff like that. But I'm slowly learning how to get like more moving functions with it.
Yeah. Oh, you got one all the way up in the sky here. What compelled you to put it up in the sky? That's pretty.
I was messing around a little bit.
Oh, you got another one down here. So this is very different from a lot of other of the pieces I've seen. So what's the difference here? What did you do differently?
Mm-hmm. So this is actually a collab with my friend Odious.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do a little bit of digital art, definitely not too much. I focus more on painting. But the sort of skeleton drawing was more of my like a digital style and stuff like that. Okay. But Odious is a great artist. I met him like last year. He's been really cool to sort of get to know and everything like that.
Yeah, no, this is a cool thing because so that's the friend you were telling me you collaborate with. You were telling me earlier about that. Mm-hmm. Is that
Yeah, so I've collabed with a couple of like Alejo, Zion's another one, because like I've been adding like audio to the sort of visual styles, and it's cool to sort of work with my friends and sort of combine with our ideas and everything like that too.
Yeah, that's God, this is I can't believe I didn't know this was going on. Take a look here. So what have you done since we started here? What have you been working on?
I'm working on just shading in the blue. So yeah, I've definitely been doing a lot of blue characters in my pieces. I'm trying to really sort of give them like a more realistic morphed feeling, but not at the same time. I don't know. I'm just playing around with anatomy a lot. Just sort of painting every day. It's fun to try and test new things.
So I saw earlier, you put words. You write on your pieces. What is that?
Yeah. So I actually with my daily paintings, I do sort of write like little poems for each piece. They're definitely not like the most precise poem or whatever you want to call it, because I'm not a poet. Because I paint, but it's fun to sort of practice like my words, and so I add like little hints to that poem throughout like the piece and things like that.
I want to take a look at one because you sent us a couple pieces here that we can look at, and we can kind of, I mean, if you're cool with doing like a little breakdown of some of the work. And these are moving. These are animated. So how did you animate these again? These things move.
Yeah, so I actually just made one yesterday and posted it. It's called Yellow Teeth. Okay. If you can find that. Yeah, right there.
There it is.
So it's got a little cigarette smoke and everything like that. But I made that in After Effects. So I scan my paintings when I finish them and things like that. Mm-hmm. So I took that scan and brought it into Photoshop. And sort of cut out the actual character, and then basically just like duplicated the background from like other pieces of the background. so that it's like a solid red background on the back, and then I can move that character around.
Do you plan on going deeper with this, like actually having them move from point A to point B as a body?
Yeah, I mean, the more I get into it, the more I'm having more fun and like understanding it. The limits are definitely. I don't really think there is any limits with it. You can get pretty creative with it. It's just about knowing the tools and stuff.
Yeah. Wow, this is cool. Smoking a cigarette. We're gonna switch to another one real quick though, but that was Yellow Teeth. That's a. I love how his cranium's just jiggling about there.
Just chilling out.
He's just he's having a. But all right, so we're looking at another one here. So which one is this?
Yeah, this one's called Wired Anatomy. And so it's basically you can see his like brains open there and connected to sort of like wires and things like that. But this one definitely connects more to like sort of like the cubism style that I've been sort of looking into. I definitely really like cubism, and I've been doing a lot of research into it and things like that.
So I have to ask about this because do each of these pieces reflect an emotional state? You know, like what is this reflecting one specific emotional, period of time or thought paradigm you had?
Yeah, I mean, since I do paint every day, I've come down to just think that it's more of like my daily sort of mood or how I'm feeling that day. And so it's either like something that I encounter that day and I'm like maybe overthinking it. Like maybe I run into like a rude customer at work, and I just get ticked off about it or something like that. Or something else just random. It can really be anything, or maybe I'm having a good day. I just try to relate that into the painting in somehow. And usually it shows up like a creepy character, but they're not always like negative when it looks creepy or anything like that.
So would you say this this guy we're looking at here is benevolent, ambivalent? What is.
This he's accepting that he is connected, overly connected to the internet, having to just stay on it all the time. And sometimes you just got to deal with that and roll with the punches in a sense.
That's okay. I could see that. I'm trying to figure out the triangle because you animated that, and that's is that like a jabbing thing? Is it stabbed?
It's more so like he's letting out himself in a sense. Like it's gonna come out and then it's come back together. Depends on how you want to take that though.
Real quick, I'm sorry to go off topic, but everyone is talking about the beret, so I have to.
Oh, what do you mean?
They love it. Everyone's like, that is a fresh beret we're looking at here. So
it's the real one that the artist had too.
Is it?
Yeah, so I'm like a verified artist.
Yeah, man. You look French as hell, man. Do you know any French?
I don't want to embarrass myself.
Come on. Just as best you can. Just some kind of French, bro.
Bonjour. I don't know, man.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That worked. I liked it. But yeah, people are loving that. So I guess wear that all the time. Do you wear that all the time, like every time you work, or is it just kind of a?
No, I was actually forced to wear this for this event.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was blackmailed. No, I'm kidding.
Blackmail.
No, I usually wear a beanie or whatever.
Oh man!
But I bought a bunch of these for fun.
You have more than one.
Them,
Yeah. How many? Come on, how many?
I don't want to talk about it,
dude. I mean, you already started talking about this, so I mean, you kind of you wore the beret, you know.
So I got a blue one.
Okay.
I got a gray one.
All right.
I got a green one.
Okay.
I And I got another one, blue one.
Okay, so that's 4. That's not too bad.
I got
thought that
another
was.
one.
Oh no. Okay, so 5.
Yeah, but I'm painting on that one, so
Oh, so you don't want
I
to show
can't
it?
show it. Yeah.
Okay. That's not too bad. That's a reasonable amount of
Reason about embrace to it. Yeah.
yeah, it's not over. I have multiple pairs of shoes. I think a lot of people do.
Exactly.
So
I think people just overthink it.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, I love the beret. They love the beret.
But yeah, this is my maker's place. And so this is one of those sort of crypto art platforms in which you can sell your art. And so what you would do basically is upload a image of that file or that image, and that can be MP4. They've really opened it a lot recently, like 3D files, things like that. But of course, I focus on digitizing my paintings and then uploading them as that. And so these are sort of like list prices. Some were auctions, and some were like gifts to people and stuff. It really varies. You can really sort of see like the different styles too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, speaking of styles, I'm looking at your work here, and despite having somewhat of a similar pattern, like they're all so diverse. Like every single one. I don't know if we can pull up on one specifically right now, but I'm just like looking through this, and I can't believe. I mean, how many of these pieces do you have, man? Like how many?
So I mean, with painting a piece a day, I mean, I definitely don't upload all of them to this like crypto stuff. But I think around like 70 to 80 or so, around that number. And then one good one to show might be The Artist, or More Fish in the Sea, I believe it's called.
Which one?
The Artist.
The Artist. Let me see. I don't know if we can pull it. If not, it's okay. I'm just
yeah.
Wow. So what was the other thing I was going to ask you about this? So, I mean, it's easy to ask, like, how did you get started? But I mean, it's more of like, where do you think you're going with your work? Like, what have you seen yourself develop into? And I mean, it looks like you're going into animation, but I mean, I don't know. Do you know where you want to go, or are you just kind of, on for the ride?
I think I'm really just sort of exploring. The main thing that I'm just trying to stay consistent with is painting a piece a day, because it really sort of provides me that emotional release and just fun overall, I think. So that's like the main thing I've been staying consistent with. But yeah, I've been trying to learn like 3D art. Definitely animating is another big one that I've been looking into. It's fun to just sort of hop into different avenues and stuff like that.
Yeah, man. I mean, and I have to say, because you have, I mean, it's kind of, I mean, these things read a little aggressive, right? You know what I mean? Like they're very strong pieces. So we talked about this before, but I had, when I first started seeing your work on Instagram, I was thinking, wow, I have this like strong urge to pair this with folk punk music. And sure enough, when we're talking, you're like, yeah, that's exactly the vibe. So how did that happen? How did you find yourself or see yourself like being influenced by music and then transmutating that to like a visual art medium,
Yeah. So, I mean, I personally made music for a few years. I wasn't the happiest with it after a while, and that's why I did sort of focus more on painting. But music's a big influence when it comes down to what I create nowadays too, just because I'm listening to it all the time. But yeah, we had a really good conversation about how folk punk is like a pretty big inspiration for me. Just sort of coming down to growing up with it and sort of relating it to the style of my art as well. Folk punk's like really raw, in your face, chaotic, screaming and stuff like that. And I don't know, I like that style. It just sort of expresses how I want to feel in a really nice way.
Do you think
Some people might
that's...
not like it, but I like it.
Oh, I mean, I don't. I mean, I'm sure some people would. I mean, not everyone can like the same thing, you know. But I'd say overall, you capture, you know, especially for someone like myself who just loves seeing, you know, creativity sprawl out of people. You know, it's. I love the. I mean, I think honesty of you know, the stuff you put down, because it's honest in a way where it's like, yeah, the shapes are abstract. It's not, you know, anything that looks, you know, hyper realistic, but it's still conveying a very realistic feeling. Like that's, I don't know, that's what I love about you know, more abstract pieces.
So Johnny Hobo, Ramshackle Glory, those are two, they're the same people, but two artists that really sort of, I think, gave me that push in the beginning. I mean, I still listen to them now to this day, since like 2015 or so. But yeah, I mean, I don't really sort of talk about it too much, but Ramshackle Glory was actually sort of like the band that did get me clean as well from sort of using at a younger age. I did get the chance to sort of see them live, and I sadly wasn't in the best time during that when I did go see them. But it gave me that chance to sort of meet that artist face to face, and sort of really see what he thought. And he always preached that sort of staying clean, taking control of your life, getting off those things. And just sort of see how he thought about me in real person, definitely put it into perspective. So I can say that Ramshackle Glory, 100% is like a huge inspiration, and definitely sort of helped me in the long run, just overall when it comes to life.
Wow. I mean, and were you already working on stuff at this time? Were you already drawing and experimenting, or did that kind of come during that journey?
It came during the journey of definitely getting clean, sort of trying to find a way to express myself without falling back into some other sort of drug abuse or anything like that, and just being able to express myself as well.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that's a key part of that process, and that those steps is finding a place to, you know, have a catharsis that isn't, you know, self-inflicted, but rather, you know, projected onto some medium?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, some people might be able to find success with staying clean just by staying clean. But I'm always a big advocate for people just finding a way to express themselves. It could be photography, painting, drawing, sculpting, anything, and sort of like an output, I think is good to sort of help people as well.
Yeah, man.
And that's why I definitely do it like the daily as well, because it just keeps me sort of having a reason in a sense, and a way to keep pushing myself, I think.
Yeah, I think it's important. It teaches a sense of it's you know, self-discipline, but in a way that you're still creatively expressing yourself. So I think sometimes people focus on discipline more than realizing there's a balance between discipline and creativity, you know? So I think it's good that you're using that as a form of self-improvement and a form of identifying like the sound of your spirit, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And I remembered
it's good to sort of.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Go for it, man.
I think it's just good to get rid of that idea of perfection or trying to perfect things. So I think painting's a great sort of output for that as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. I don't think, I think it's cliche, but Bob Ross always said it. So, I mean, there must be some kind of truth to
Exactly.
it.
Yeah.
Is folk punk always angry? It sounds angry, but is the emotional state that they're trying to get across meant to be angry, or is it just kind of, do you know what I'm saying? Am I going anywhere with this?
I don't, yeah, I don't think it's necessarily always angry.
Mhm.
I think that's just like an easy way to explain the style or vibe of it.
Mhm.
Um, I think it's just being able to express yourself freely in that like DIY sort of style as well. Is like another like big thing that I'm about. And I think it goes back down to like those punk aspects of it as well. Just saying like fuck the system and all that shit like that too.
Well, okay, so uh, I, I, I think that makes sense. I'm trying to, man, because see, I'm trying to go somewhere with this, and I'm trying to figure out
Mm-hmm.
where I'm going because you kind of touched on it. It's, I don't know. I'll have to think about it a little bit more. I'll keep moving forward, but we'll circle back to this because I think it's an important part of your artistic identity, in the sense of, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's literally the name, emotional. You're
Yeah.
trying to expand on complex thoughts and feelings, without limiting yourself and being consistent. And that's more than just one emotion. That's not just anger.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of other there's a spectrum in within that. And I think part of what, getting people to sit down and listen to a Ramshackle Glory song is you know painting that picture for them when they listen to the music. When you just jump into it, just like anything else that's kind of unfamiliar or niche, it's
Yeah. It can scare some people and stuff like that.
exactly, yeah, it can
But
be a lot.
yeah, when you get like a more visual idea of it and sort of like the meaning behind it, besides just like that screaming and yelling and stuff like that,
Hmm.
you're definitely able to connect with it a bit more.
I think so. And that's how I fell in love with it. I kind of looked at it through a different lens, seeing how it inspired my friends and, seeing like the words, reading the words, seeing it's well written. Like these guys are
Mm-hmm.
real writers, they're not like a
Yeah.
studio, plant or whatever. Um,
Yeah, no, it's like there's no like limiting the artist in a sense. They're
yeah.
they're putting their self right there, and that's another big part that I like about it.
I wanted to get to this because this is a vital part of what I want Desert Spotlight to be, and part of that is focusing on the Arizona arts community as a whole, as a
Mm-hmm.
collective, not rejecting or leaving people out, but figuring out a way to create a network for everyone. So you told me on the phone, I was shocked and disappointed to hear that you don't really feel that connected to the Arizona arts community, right? Am I wrong?
No, yeah, I mean, I definitely talked to a few people, but I don't know. I feel like I'm definitely not as connected as I should be, um, just because I don't leave the house too much, so it's hard for me to sort of put myself out there and reach out to people here
Are
in
you get
Arizona and stuff like that.
Well, okay, so I want to figure out during this live stream how we can fix this. Because I won't stand for this. You're too talented and too interesting to leave out in some house. And where are you at? Are you in Mesa or where are you?
North Phoenix.
North Phoenix. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah,
There's a whole world. I mean, people would love you in
there
Tucson.
has to be people out here.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're in the digital space, but
Mm-hmm.
there's so much opportunity in our community to, collaborate, talk about ideas, work out our,
Mm-hmm.
personal traumas or personal demons or whatever, and do that through creative expression and through coming up with ideas to help one another. So, real quick,
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much I can meet online, so I mean, it'd be nice to be able to relate with more local artists and things like that too.
So we'll
that's
talk
always
about
great
it.
inspiration as well.
So let's get you in the Arizona arts community.
Yeah,
So
let's hear it.
the first thing I was thinking about, and we talked about this, I loved our first conversation. That was our first time actually speaking. And the thing that, I really gathered from that was that, part of your artistic identity is the journey you were on in recovery. And I think that's what makes your medium so strong, is because you have a genuine through line that goes right to what you put on the screen and what you put on paper and canvas. I don't know, there's something there that is everyone needs to experience. Like, they need to experience you as a person simultaneous to that work, And
Yeah.
I mean, live galleries were always, that's one step. But as you even realize, like, it's hard to get a gallery going or even getting featured in some of them. So there need to be other alternatives. And we talked about, like, what if you were able to do a live art show for like an AA community or a community of recovering addicts in any substance,
Yeah.
and what would that look like? You know what I mean? So I threw this idea out, but I'd like to see if you have some other ones. But we talked about, like, what if you were able to do what's like Stations of the Cross, but it's the 12 steps. You know what I mean? Like, you're able to. Yeah.
And different sort of art styles to sort of convey those each steps. And then finding local artists in Arizona to sort of help with that, I think would be really cool.
How would you want to see that? Because it's live art, right? We don't want to do this inside of a gallery. We want to be outside, right?
We're definitely going to want to be outside for the whole pandemic thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm not sure. It's definitely something we can look into, but like we can look into maybe finding like a park or something that is open for people to sort of set up like booths and stuff. And we can definitely just find a group of artists that are comfortable with going outside and sort of being a little close, but of course still being safe and keeping distance and everything like that in a way that people can still see the art and enjoy it. I think it would be really cool.
Something you had asked was, or not asked, you said it. Sorry, this shot, like, wasn't ready, but I don't drink that much. So I'm like, okay. But you'd said that you would feature multiple artists. So would you have each step be a different artist, or would you do like something where each month or maybe every other month you have a different artist taking on that series? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if one would make a difference
something. I mean, yeah, if it is something that we could continuously do, I think it would be cool to sort of see how different artists portray that step in their own sort of unique style.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, it's great to be able to see it once, but to see it multiple times with different artists, that could be like a really cool show that we provide to the Arizona scene as well.
How where would you want to get started with this? Would you want to start in North Phoenix, or is there a particular arts community that you'd want to acquaint yourself with, or where would you want to go?
So that comes down to you because you're more connected. I don't know, buddy.
Well, true.
I feel like more down near you, honestly.
I could give you some options. I mean, I think Tempe is fantastic. It's very Tempe. Underrated. I think part of why it's underrated is because it's a college town, and that's what it's marketed as. That's what sells it. But in reality, it has a booming arts collective, and it's pretty much where Phoenix was at, like, I don't know, at least 15, 16 years ago, before they really perfected like downtown First Fridays and you know what I mean, like Roosevelt Road stuff. So, there's a lot of people in Tempe. I really want to get you patched in with Unity Through Community. We'll be releasing a video for them actually Saturday. It'll be on AZTV as well. But the main thing with that is they have so many different artists that have a similar expression of abstract work or cubism or neo-expressionism that I couldn't even say that word. I'm so sorry. Never take a shot, bro. Don't do that. But those guys would make fun of me. They love drinking down there. They're right next to Yucca Tap Room, so I mean they can go drink or whatever. But it'd be really cool to introduce you to their organization because they would love to see more up and coming young artists like yourself, take the stream. And the other place I'd go is Jared's Coffee and Tea Gallery. We're also working on a thing with him. I mean, again, there's so many other places to go, like Tucson, the Fourth Ave community.
Yeah, Tucson.
Tucson.
I know a few people in Tucson.
Absolutely. And I've noticed, I don't mean like, it's not a stereotype. It's just what I literally experienced, but a lot of people struggled with addiction in my community, in my home. And it was usually with pills or synthetics. And it sucked because they're all really talented, educated, smart people.
Yeah.
But,
you lose a lot of amazing people too.
Yeah, exactly. And all of them were craving to express themselves in a healthier way. And no one was teaching them that. They couldn't, they didn't find that in their schools or anything like that. And I don't know. I'd love to help the social environment.
Yeah, give people more access to them where we can, of course, with the current environment and everything.
Yeah, that's the as if it wasn't hard enough already, now it's like nobody go outside, and it's like, well, we still need to like preserve our humanity and make sure everyone's well, they're looked out for. You don't want people feeling lonely or distanced or any of this shit. You have to embrace the closeness and the beauty of like collaborating and working together and discussing things and getting creative with how to do that, so
yeah, especially because I feel like even if we're more in a digital age right now, it's definitely in the route of like an art renaissance in a sense with like the pandemic and everything going on. I don't know, I feel like artists are definitely getting a bit more power in that sense of people paying attention to the arts a bit more as well.
Yeah, the playing field's been leveled. I mean, not just in art, I think globally and across the board. Like, if you felt behind before this pandemic, like you're ahead 2 years or you're caught up by two years. The world's slowed down. So you have the advantage to go to bigger fish and say, hello, fish. There's some really cool stuff going on a base community level. There's this guy named Bryce, and he has a sandbox virtual reality, and he's trying to express, the things inside that everyone else is feeling. And talking to him would help, I think, heal people's sense of loneliness or sense of not being able to have control of their lives, and not even just control, but just an understanding of how to coexist with the laws of the universe and how to respect like the karmic laws and the idea that what goes around comes around, like, you know where I'm going with this, right? I don't want to get into a tangent, but you see what I'm saying?
No, I get what you mean though.
Have you been to any art galleries or anything at all in Arizona? Like, what's your experience with Arizona artists, if you have any?
I did one art show actually in Arizona. It was in someone's backyard. I think I still have like the little flyer on my Instagram and stuff like that. It was a bit ago. It was before. It was like right when COVID like started getting pretty bad. And then everything got locked down. But it was a crazy experience. It was my first ever art show. So definitely had like a little booth with my paintings, and was like selling stickers at the time because I was mainly drawing stickers.
Oh, you started with stickers, right? Or what do you mean?
So I've been doing like daily paintings for a bit, but there was a few months where I sort of stopped painting because I didn't have the money for painting. And so I was just getting a lot of these USPS stickers and Sharpies and just sort of drawing a bunch of those a day.
Okay. Yeah. So what was that atmosphere like? What was the environment like? Did you network or what did that feel like? And be honest, please, because we want to fix this if there's a problem there, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I networked a bit. I definitely followed a bit of people on like Instagram and stuff like that. But I don't know. It comes down to like you follow somebody, and it kind of just stays at that point, unless like you're pretty close to them and stuff like that, and like can go hang out and stuff like that. I don't know. It's I definitely could have networked a bit more, but I definitely met a lot of great people too during it.
Was that not your main goal, was to network? Like what was that? I mean, I don't know. What prevented you from going all the way and saying, yeah, let me talk to these people and get my name out there, and you know what I mean?
I mean, I don't know. It's sort of like showing myself like that in person is a bit more nerve wracking. So I think it's more of like, could I do this? What does it feel like when I'm actually sort of showing myself in person, sitting in front of my art, having someone walk up and be like, just sitting in silence. So you have to be like, hey, do you like this? Or you sit in silence with them. And I definitely tried a bit of both. But yeah, it was more of like a learning process, I feel like.
So you're just taking things in first. Fact finding, I believe, is what that is. Yeah. That makes sense. So
it's good to sort of see how it feels.
Do you think COVID was the reason why you didn't go to more galleries over the past year?
That's and just not knowing how
Oh, okay.
to get into galleries and
How'd
shows.
you get into that one?
They reached out to me on Instagram for that. And so like I don't know how common that is either.
Yeah, that's pretty rare, but that's cool. That's a high form compliment.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think part of it is artists have to do a lot of their own marketing at the beginning, you know, when they're first putting their work out there. At least that's what I've noticed, where it's like they have to do everything. And sometimes it doesn't slow them down. What's up?
Yeah, definitely. I think being an artist is definitely learning how to market yourself nowadays with social media and everything. Things move really fast, so you kind of just have to learn how to work with that if you want to sort of stay on top of it in a sense, I guess.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. I got to work this out and figure a strategy, because I've run into this problem before, not just with you, but with other artists, where it's like, hey, do you know a gallery? Do you have a gallery to, you know, put this artist in? And most of the time it's like, yeah, but here's the cost. And then sometimes they say, well, it's an affordable cost. But then it's like, who's your audience? You know, what's your demographic? Are they going to understand your, you know, your zeitgeist or your visual
story
work? So it's, I don't know. I have to keep going back and forth, but I really think with you, at least, like your strongest ground, like that. I mean, I don't think anyone do it. Sorry, I'm stumbling on my words. And that shot, man, you know, hell of a shot, but it's an Arizona shot. So, but, you know, starting with a recovery program, or, you know, some sort of, you know, Pills Anonymous or Alcoholics Anonymous, and working with them and trying to do a collaboration piece, I think that would make quite the statement, especially in Tucson. So I don't know if you're down to taking a trip down to the old Pueblo, but I think people would really identify with that kind of a concept.
Yeah, I'd love to go down to Tucson, honestly, because I know a few people down there. My friend Kizra down in Tucson.
Do you hike?
Yeah.
You a hiker?
Yeah. I hike the little mountains by my place. They're small, but they're still nice.
Yeah, you get some hills in.
Yeah.
I think you'd love Tucson has such a diverse hiking space. You can go into the woods or you can be in just like saguaro covered space. So it's a really good place to go out and reflect. And I think that's why it's becoming such a creative, artistic space. It always has been, really.
Yeah.
So
I think Arizona has an art scene.
Mhm.
I'm just not involved in it a lot.
Yeah.
That's
Well, I mean, have you lived here your whole life?
So now I'm actually from California, Long Beach.
Oh, okay. When did you
I've
move here?
definitely lived out here for a while.
Oh, okay.
When I was like really young. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. What were you just you were just doing your own thing. You were just creating art. You weren't necessarily like thinking about that in relation to a network, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's always come down to I just be painting.
Yeah, just be painting.
I probably could. I probably could put more work into figuring out how to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It takes away time from the art.
Yeah, man. Let us do that. I'll help you with that. We'll get some stuff going. We're gonna have to wrap up, and I want to show some of your merch and everything because I know you have. I want to buy one of these sweatshirts. I'm gonna do it. I don't usually spend money on clothing, so this is a big moment.
Wait, let me see if I can grab one so I can.
Yeah, get some of that, and then I want to follow up with your piece too because you've been working hard on that, and I want to see that one more time before we say goodbye. Oh, he's getting up. Here he goes. There it is. Look at that. Can you get closer?
So
it's a little dark, but it's all right.
Yeah, let me see if I can get better.
Get a little closer there. Let's see that. Yeah. Well.
So it's
pull it out. Yeah.
A little blurry, but it's basically a shit ton of my paintings from 2020. And then it says art is freedom. My friend Jerry Cords helped me with this, sort of cutting them all out and everything like that.
And how much are these? Because I want to encourage everyone watching to buy a sweatshirt of his, or please, because I've never wanted to buy a sweatshirt before, and now because I've seen this guy's stuff on a sweatshirt, I'm like, I got to do this.
I really want to provide them like an affordable way, so I'm gonna try to aim for like 40 to $50 for the hoodies, and then there's also like shirts, and those should be like 25 or so.
And where do people find this stuff? Like, how can people find your stuff, your merch, your work?
Everything can be found on my Twitter. I post everything and update everything on there. It's just emotional. But you can also find my website, artbynoel.com. I got everything on there as well.
Fantastic, man. Thank you. And real quick, can we check on his painting? I just want to see status update before we say goodbye. I know we're over time. I don't care. I want to see the guy's, painting. I want to see it. He's been working on it all night.
The shading right now.
You're on the shading? All right, let's see it.
Yeah,
there it is.
Working with some oils and getting them in there.
Damn, you're like working it in. So,
recently I've been working with oils.
So is this pretty much complete, or where are you going with this?
We'll see where it is once I get the character done. Mm-hmm. I wrote like a little bit. I just wrote "Follow Me." So that's all I got so far.
That's a start. I mean,
they kind of go as I make them.
Damn, that's really. It looks so detailed. I can't even believe that. I know I got to wrap up, Patrick. All right, I have 2 more questions. Okay, for God's sakes, man. It's Instagram. Okay, it's not live television. All right, we don't have a commercial break. I mean, how did you did this so fast? I mean, you went with, what was the order? Like, where did you start, and where you said you're doing shading now?
Yeah, so I usually start with just a background.
Hmm.
Sometimes spray paint, sometimes only just like acrylic paint. Um, I sometimes try to make like a scene in the background. If I'm not feeling like a mood of creating a scene, I'll typically just go with colors that provide that feeling that I have at that moment, and sort of combine them in like an abstract way in a sense. So my art, I guess, always sort of starts in an abstract manner of laying out the background, definitely, before anything.
That's interesting. I'll have to think about that more going forward about, because you have to start with considering your background. What is your environment before you shape your
Yeah,
character?
yeah. I never think about the character until the background's done.
That's such an interesting footnote, I think, to have. I'm serious. I mean, it's funny. Yeah, I say things. I'm drunk. I'm wasted. All right, but but really, like, that is. I don't know if people necessarily see it that way sometimes. So I think that's good to note that. I do have to wrap up. I mean, I really appreciated your time, and I love the
No
piece.
worries. Thank you.
Can you send a picture of this to me when it's done? So I'll probably do a post or something. I want to follow up with you in the coming weeks and see if we can figure out some kind of I really want to do this 12-step piece with you. I really want to figure
Yeah, I
out.
want to look into that.
Yeah, we should take the trip down to Tucson, and I can get us in touch with some recovery organization and see if there's any way to get this going, this year.
Perfect.
So
Yeah, this year we got to do some things this year.
yeah, man, this is the big year. This is you and I are kind of on, like, trying to scale up in our presence with our community, like, at the same time. So this is really cool. It's cool that you're but Bryce, thank you so much for being on tonight. This
Thank
was a
you.
lot of fun.
Thank you.
I thoroughly enjoyed talking to you even before we went live. Like, you're such a cool guy to talk to. So thank you. And it's not the alcohol talking. All right. I swear to God. So anyway, thank you, man. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Oh, and be sure to tune in next week. Yeah, right. Next week. We're going to be doing this every week. I got to figure out an artist. So if you're following our Instagram and you're an artist, I'll probably look around and see who's there, and I'll pick you and I'll message you and we'll do this. And I had a lot of fun, so I want to keep this going every week.
I got a couple artists I could send over your way too.
Please do. Yeah. If anyone in the chat too, if you guys have suggestions or any idea on, like, who should I do next, feel free to message us. Tell people that we're out here trying to represent the arts community. So anyway, thank you, Bryce. Thank you guys. Have a great night.